On the beginning, I would like to introduce ourselves and myself personally. I am a biologist and my background and all my life I'm doing mushroom business and try to link science with the mushroom production. Thanks of the situation and thanks of the circumstances, what I don't think that you know about a lot, but definitely we are living in shakable and not stable economy that is in common with us. But thanks of all those circumstances, we should develop our way of doing business, which means or we should develop that or just to quit, because we had never had a situation where we could looking for the financial support, stable investors, etc., etc. So like always in life, some things have a very bad and something good consequences. So in our case, beside that it was not easy, I think that we have done a good job. So we developed a very specific low investment hardware, or let's say low investment project opportunity, where thanks to our knowledge and thanks of my experience and our experience, we in fact could meet all demands of the mushroom growing technology, but with a relatively low cost investment. So that was a really win-win situation. And even more, a few years ago, in order to realize and finally, honestly speaking, in order to escape from the mainstream, because we, like typical small enterprise, could not fight with competitors who is doing their job on their way. I will not comment that way. So in order just to make diversification and just to leave that mainstream and make ourselves specific, we implement organic certification. And I have to tell you, we are one of the very rare organic certified company here in the region, in Southeast Europe and also in Europe at all. So organic production, especially of champignon, is definitely very rare. Moreover, we developed that circular approach, and I'm very glad that last year we had been chosen, like not chosen, but recognized like unique circular economy enterprise in the region of Balkan plus Turkey. But really circular, not only who is talking about circularity, because you know now everybody is talking about sustainability and circularity, and in fact what they are doing, it is other story. So EkoFungi today produces about 100 tons of the fresh champignon and oyster, organically certified. We dehydrated it. We purchasing based on the fair trade agreement, based on the principles of fair trade. We do not have any paper or document, but we try to be really fair. From our organic farmers from Serbia and surrounding, to whom we deliver our spent compost, we purchasing their vegetables and their veggie. So all together we dehydrate and we are making those mixes, which are now available on the market. So that's so in short, EkoFungi is organically certified growing mushroom producer of the champignon and oyster, circular, and the company where circular economy is absolutely applied. So we have 12 employees, And also, parallelly, we have a very developed and very good training course, what is named EkoFungi School. And up to now, we train about more than 100 and even more students. And I consider that about 50 small enterprises globally are funded thanks of our knowledge and thanks of our business approach. So that is EkoFungi today. And I appreciate very much, I'm very honored by all this collaboration and opportunity that I share all what I know. And count on me, because we are a typical open source company. So that's what I can tell you for the time in this moment. And it will be much better that you ask me all what you really want to know about EkoFungi and me.
Thank you very much, Ivanka. Before I go on to the other questions in the room, because this is going to be a recorded session and because I expect people to watch this video in the future as well, I would appreciate it if you could give us a brief explanation of what it means to be a circular economy company, what the circular economy is, so that people in Armenia, for whom this is a very new concept, I know people in the room probably know this already, but for those who will watch this video in the future, please explain what does it mean, circular economy.
Circular economy is the concept which, in fact, I like to say follow the nature. First of all, guys, I would like really to emphasize that circular economy is not recycling. So if you know that somebody is doing a recycling of car batteries or something like that, it is not a circular economy. Circular economy is the process of the production or just technological process where every single side product, please take into the consideration, I'm not using the word waste, because in nature, in the natural processes, waste does not exist. Waste from one production cycle has to be implemented in some next production cycle. That's how the nature is working, and that's how we are working. So circular economy is the way of doing a process where side product, in other words, waste from one technological process, is going like raw material in the next technological process. And also, I will give you just example I will use EkoFungi because maybe you will understand me better. So we are collecting the horse manure from the surrounding farm, horse farm. We are using horse manure, which is, by the way, the problem of those farmers. So we use the horse manure in the compost production for champignon growing. We produce the champignon. We are going with the champignon on the market, but the waste of the after the champignon production is the spent compost. We are recycling that. We are making substrate for our organic farmers, producer of vegetable, or for the horticulture. We collect the vegetable from our organic farmers, and all extra quantity, we dehydrate that, and all the waste after the waste after the peeling, cleaning, and whatever after of those vegetables, we are using in the substrate production. Parallelly, we collect waste material after the agriculture processes which contain cellulose, apple branches, corn cobs, straw, sawdust, all sorts of the cellulose. We collect that. Based on our innovative model, we are making the substrate for oyster mushroom farming. We produce oyster mushroom farming, but spent substrate we can offer or to the farmers who breeding the cows, because the material is very useful in the ruminant feeding, especially for the dairy cows feeding, or also sent to the farmers for the in the way on the like sort of the soil supplement. So when you take all that cycle, this is a circular economy. But also it is important that circular economy does not mean that only one product is going to another cycle. It means that on every single steps of all that cycle, you have some small income. So, like an example, we producing the mushroom, then we are selling the mushroom, we have the spent substrate, and we sell the spent substrate like a soil amendment or like fertilizer or like supplement. On the other side, our farmers or the horse breeders, they instead to waste their horse manure, they are selling to us their horse manure. So circular economy does not only mean that waste from one product you are going to use in the other technological process, but also means on everything you have that so-called multiply cash flow. And this is the circular economy. I hope that I was clear.
Thank you very much. Yes, it was very clear. Let me just check if there are any questions in the room right now. We can go to one of the questions that our other participant, David, had submitted earlier to us. So I'll ask Arman from Impact Hub to read the question.
Yeah. So we had one of the participants send us a question. The question is, how much is the yield of the champignon? How much do you harvest? What's the volume that you get?
Yes, and I would like to tell you, first of all, in conventional mushroom farm, yield is about 21 to 24%. If the guy who addressed the question to me now is disappointing, I will tell him that all those stories, that is the first of all, the yield very much depends on the quantity of water. So my mushrooms have a very good shelf life, longer than normal. And the shelf life of those mushrooms means that we use a little less quantity of water during the watering, and that's why it is consequently some relatively lower yield. And in conventional, when I was conventional farm, we had average around the year about 23% based on the phase 2. Phase 2 is just material what we receive before the incubation. And now our yield cannot go above 16-70%, which means on 100 kg of the compost phase 2, we harvest only 16 to 70 kg of the mushroom, because we harvest only 2 flashes and we cannot have longer flashes, longer cycle, excuse me, because of because of all circumstances. The arms are pretty crossed thanks of that organic production.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me ask a question about when we were talking earlier, we talked about how the concept of organic agriculture, organic food is not yet well appreciated in Serbia.
Yeah.
The situation that we have in Armenia. So on the one hand, we feel like most of our agriculture is natural already, traditionally, but then on the other hand, people don't understand what organic agriculture means. What is your role as an organization, as a producer? On the one hand, you have customers in Western European countries where they understand this concept, and you have a few distributors in Serbia who sell your product. Do you feel like you have a responsibility to also contribute to promoting among the general public organic food? And if you do, how do you do this? What are the activities you take to promote this?
Yeah, listen, honestly speaking, not only that I have that role, but it is must, because I am very open, and I think that also during our first conversation, I told you, Nazareth, and I emphasized Unfortunately, we have a lot of barrier here from Serbia. Because of all the circumstances in the past and because of all our economy situation, people believes from the West that we are only raw material supplier. So it is very difficult to jump over that barrier, but also our organic products are very valuable on the market there. And that is, but mainly like raw material. Final product is very tricky to be sold. On the other side, education of the local market is not only my mission because of, let's say, that a little altruistic reasons, but it is also my mission it is my must, because we have to educate our market and we have to teach the people how to use, how to appreciate organic food. And I have to tell you, in Serbia, we have a very, very little portion of the population where people are really understand organic and where the people want to pay for the organic. That is a very, very, very teeny percentage. There is some portion of the population who understand organic but have no money for that because of our economy situation and all disaster what we have here. And on the other side, you have people who do not understand organic, who do not understand nothing about fine food and generally high quality food, but unfortunately or good for them, but not for us, they are ready to pay, but not a good stuff. I'm sorry that I'm saying, but a lot of ladies will go to clean their faces or to do artificial burning of their fat, but will never pay for the good food. And that is reality here in Serbia. Sorry, good for you if it is not there, but here it is really like this. So through our internet site, you can go on our internet site, it is systemekofungi.com, through our social media, through Facebook, through Instagram, through LinkedIn, we try to share, to convince, to educate. In my team, I have a lady who is a doctor of the medical science, who is expert in nutrition, and she really on highly professional level wants to share her knowledge, that because you also know a lot of fairy tales are on the table, unfortunately. A lot of fairy tales we are talking about. So we try to be realistic, objective, correct, and to really somebody's join us.
Yes,
somebody join. Yeah. Hello. Okay, hi. So in that sense, if you answer on your question, I would like to emphasize, it is not that my mission is only education. It is must. If we want to develop the market, to develop awareness, and to really spread the knowledge about the organic. And unfortunately, it is a very difficult job.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's move to the next question that our participant David had submitted before the webinar.
Yeah, another question from our participants. The question was, how long does the incubation take?
For champignon, 2 weeks, and for oyster, 3 weeks. That is incubation for the champignon, last 2 weeks on the temperature of the 21 degrees in the room and 25 in the compost, in the substrate, and similar, a little bit higher temperature for the oysters. So this is those are the conditions. Under such a condition, if you have a good substrate or compost for 2 weeks for a champignon, you will have well incubated compost ready for casing.
And the third question is about the ingredients that go into making. So one of them is horse manure as a fertilizer. So what other components, ingredients do you have?
Compost here, the compost is made because we are organic production and we are using only exclusively horse manure. And horse manure, in fact, is the mix of the horse, excuse me to say, but it is our raw material, poo and pee, and straw. That is the horse manure. So horse manure is the, in fact, you know, when you have a breeding of the horses, then farmers every day spreading the straw and collect in the evening that material. So that's called horse manure, and that's what we are using here exclusively in the compost, champignon compost production.
Were you using gypsum and perlite as well?
Yeah. 2% of the gypsum, yes.
Yeah, from the video.
The video that we saw, this was also a part. It was
2%, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions in the room at the moment?
This is in relation only to champignon or other?
So there are two kinds of champignon and oyster mushroom production, right? Just to clarify.
Yes.
So my family, we recently established a small farm with oysters. And now roughly like 83 meters, I would say, plus maybe 23 meters for the period, how to call it? Incubation period. So, but the thing is that seems like for the 4 or 5 months, the service is barely self-coverage, like really barely coverage, although it's not a cheap product. So I urged my brother to start the nearby business of actually producing itself the spores. But I don't know, I came late, so I don't know, are you a specialist only for like business development as such, or are you only a specialist for the mushroom and oyster? And would you advise actually start a new production of the spores rather than buying them and outsourcing that service?
Never, please. First of all, I advise, I would like kindly, if you want, go on our System EkoFungi site, and there you will have our handbook. You can download for free that handbook, and there you will find a lot of response on this question. I would like to tell you, in my school and in my here situation, I never ever allowed to the people to go in production of the mycelium or spawn, how you call that, by yourself. Please, because I have here the little lab for the production of spawn, and trust me, this is a high sensitive and very tricky segment of our technology. And all the results of your efforts, which are coming later, can be totally ruined by that over-ambitional step. So please, I recommend that you buy, if it was the question, I have to excuse, I don't know how much and how well you are hearing me, but I hope that you are hearing me better than I am hearing you. But anyway, the point is that I recommend that you buy professional produced spawn or mycelium. You can buy from Yerevan. It is a multinational company globally. And I think that Armenia belongs to the same office like Serbia. It is in Hungary here, because in Russia and Turkey and all this region belong to that office and local, I mean, it is just a branch office in Hungary. So, or you have some other global producers, but please, never ever don't try to make spawn by yourself, because fungi are very unstable from genetically point of view. That is the first. Second, contaminations are so often and terrible that can make a really serious headache for you. And finally, during the multiplication, you are losing the quality. And honestly speaking, very frankly, even high professionalists can lost a little bit in that multiplication moment. So my advice, purchase professional made spawn, make substrate according the allowed me to say our handbook, because really, I would like very much to discuss with Impact Hub in Armenia, here in Belgrade and Geneva. Maybe we can organize some short course about this, our substrate production model, because we cut energy utilization 100%. Consequently, no any environmental harmful we do not have. So this is the very good process what I apply here. So maybe we can talk about that in some other format, but never ever make spawn by yourself. Kindly ask.
Thank you so much. You actually fully replied to my answer, because this was sort of my idea to bring down the cost a little bit. Maybe instead of buying this, also it makes sense to produce. But I hear what you say. I didn't realize how complicated this process can be, actually.
No. It is very complicated. It is very complicated, and it is even less complicated how much is risky. And so just please forget that. We can talk about that, but please, that is something, I'm joking with my trainees who are coming here, and I'm saying, okay, maybe we can do this and that, but some things are must. One of the things which are must is that.
When we talk about the risks, the risks of developing our own this facility for the spores, the risks are health related, like somebody can die from eating that part?
No. It is risky in sense of risky for your production, and investment is pretty high, and quality for the production is very unclear. Uncertain. So it is, from economical point of view, is risky.
May I ask quickly? I hear your point. Thank you very much. So there are several musts. So what are other, if you have to name another one or two musts in the mushroom production business, what will be those ones?
Not follow the internet advices. Not make.
But this is what we've been doing. This is how we established that small farm. Completely.
I'm sorry. You ask. I'm sorry. You ask, and I very openly respond. So that's.
Of course. All right. So.
And don't believe that mushrooms are frogs. So mushrooms are not fish, because people believe that first what they have to provide is high humidity, high water content, and they avoid and total eliminate importance of the fresh air, importance of the other component. So first mistake is they are reading the internet. On internet, everything is possible. They may have expectation like really unbelievable, and realistic story is totally different. I don't say that it is not realistic, but that is not definitely something which is written. Second, or you avoid high investment, not invest or not over invest in your facility. You must understand the process. You must understand what mushrooms are looking for and what is the mushroom in the nature. So when you catch the point what they are doing in the nature, it will be very easy that you translate that in your daily business. So that is the point. Not over invest, which can be the consequence of internet. Don't make expectation unrealistic, also consequence of internet. Must to understand the process and be absolutely sure what is the living body, what you are going to produce, what she is looking for, what is way of nutrition, why that is the set. And of course, that is, according my opinion, most important musts in our production.
Okay. Thank you so much. Very valuable advice.
Once more time, really go on internet and download that handbook. I think that it can be very useful, really very useful.
Yeah, I think that's a very useful link. We will definitely also find it and check it out. And we'll also talk about potential collaboration with Impact Hub in Serbia and Armenia on a separate occasion as well. One question I have is about this. We talked about the 30-kilometer radius with you, that you try to get your principle is to get all raw materials from within 30 kilometers of your location. Does this mean that there is a cap to how big you can scale because you have this limit of where you can source your raw material from? Does it mean that if you commit to a circular economy, if you commit to the kind of business that you're doing, there is a limit to how big you can become as a business?
Listen, in our case, that is I am definitely, this is the principle what we are following. And, you know, we are part also, not only about of that circular economy. We are not example of circular economy, but also we are recognized in that blue economy movement, because, and blue economy promote development of the local business, for the local market, and based on the local resources. And that is, you know, I had never chosen to be a part of blue economy. We just founded each other. Listen, the very simple answer, if on example, in my situation here, I'm sitting in the middle of agriculture area. We are not limited with the raw material. Maybe I'm limited with the horse manure, but with the straw, really not. Because here, so the response on your question, you cannot be limited if you are sitting in the region where certain raw material is available in much bigger quantity than in fact you want in the beginning. The reason for the insisting on that cycle of 30 kilometers is just opposite, because, you know, people very often in our business, just again by following that internet advices, they are focused on some sort of the raw material, and they are ready to transport even 50, 100 kilometers, 50, 70, up to 100 and even more kilometers, some raw material, and that really can total ruin their business. So just to tell you, that is, first of all, you are looking in your surrounding, what you have in your surrounding. I'm insisting on the fact that our small and medium business, if you put on the head of that small and medium business transport cost of the raw material, and our raw material is really very volumes and light, then you will totally destroy your business. So instead that you insist on straw and transport the straw 100 and 150 kilometers, take a look what you have. On example, we just have, my colleague is on the in Greece, and we have there a small production with our colleague on the south of Peloponnese, where we are going to develop this business based on the olive branches. So the response on your question is, take a look in your surrounding, and maybe you will find a huge quantity, like I have here, the huge quantity of the straw, because I'm here in the agriculture region, but my business idea is not to become big. And that is all about our EkoFungi. You know, we don't even, we have no limit of raw material, but I have a limit of, maybe it is my mental limit. You know, my mission is to have a small enterprise and maybe to develop globally puzzles, small spots, what we connect and networked, and create a network of the similar companies, and not to be bigger and bigger. That is just my vision of my business. But to respond on your question, in your surrounding, in some surrounding, and in any surrounding, raw material is not limit. It is just matter of the approach and knowledge.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions in the room? Yes, Mario has a question. There are two questions coming up. We'll start with Mario and then move to Lucine. Just a second.
Yes.
Hello, two questions. One technical. What is the cost of energy percentage to the total cost of production? And the second one, I was very interested in the concept of the fungi school. And you mentioned that 50 small enterprises were born out of your school. If you could elaborate on that, what's the history of this? How big they are? How dispersed they are? Is it for industrial production, or is it small mom and pop kind of thing that they do in the backyard? What happened with that? That would be very interesting for me to see.
Yeah, thank you. About the energy consumption, I can check, because numbers had never been my very big advantage. I can send to Nazareth later just to check with my colleague, but it is about, I think, 10 to 15% in the production price is energy. But don't trust me 100%. Honestly, I want to check and then tell you, because that is better that I check. About the EkoFungi school, yeah? Somebody will join us? Okay, about the EkoFungi school, I would like to tell you, the point is that we are doing the training for entrepreneurs. And you know, originally and basically you can grow mushroom on everything and everywhere. But the point is how to make a business out of that. So we have a very different, let's say, trainees. Some of them had developed a very, very serious urban farming, like Rotterswam in Rotterdam, like Beyond Cafe in Copenhagen, like that gourmet mushroom in England, like many of them. So there is most of them are relatively small, but for the urban farming, they have a significant, on example, our colleague in Lisbon, he developed his mushroom farm, and he spent about 40 to 50, can you imagine, 40 to 50 tons of the different waste, including coffee waste in the middle of Lisbon. So it is not small anymore. Then, there is on example, most of them have a production which is about 40 to 50 kg of mainly oyster. It depends. And also we have right now a colleague in Toronto, in Canada, who has 12 growing units of 20 tons of the compost per cycle, which is extremely, it is really a big scale production. So, you need to know my approach first is that at the end of the day, they need to know how they will have at least a positive zero. So that is the first, which means that it is, and sometimes they realize that they cannot do that because of the labor cost in the, it depends. But on the other side, they need to understand the process. And, in all that our mushroom farming today, we have developed that, let me allow to say, EkoFungi stream. On the one side, you have one big industrial production, like in Poland, Russia, China, all West Europe. On other side, you have that very low cost investment like in Far East, and in medium, there is that our way of doing things where with low cost investment, you can reach certain level of the quality, very unquestionable quality of the production, but also with the flexibility in the capacity of growing. So you can grow from 10 kg up to the 1 ton of the fresh mushroom per day. But the principle is more or less the same. About the energy, I have to check, excuse me.
Okay, thank you, Ivanka. The next question is from Lucine, Organic Armenia Association.
Oh, bravo.
Just a small question. I would like to know, you are mentioning that you are using horse manure. Whether all these horse, those who are keeping horses, are they organically certified?
No.
Doing with the issue of antibiotics and etc.
That is the question. That is a good question. There is a rule. You cannot breed the horse organic, but there is a rule that every single, and those guys who are breeding the horses, they are really, really fanatic of that. But the point is, organic, those horse breeders are really fanatic, and only obligation what they have is to make a strict records about the tracking and tracing of the treatment, possible antibiotics treatment, and to provide obligation. They have a tracing, and they need to isolate horses who are treated with some antibiotics or something, this and that. So we have a very close collaboration and double checking with the owner of horse farmers, but also his local veterinarian. And local veterinarian is obliged to give tracking and tracing. So our certified company, that is our local certified company, they can compare veterinarian report and horse farmer report. And trust me, yesterday I had a checking of our organic certification, and we lost each of us 1 kilo during the certification process.
Ivanka, thank you very, very much for your time, for the detailed answers you provided to all the questions. And thank you for being a part of our SELLA project. I think it was very useful.
No, thank you very much. I don't want to interrupt. I just need to do something here, urgent. But if you want any other question that I respond, I can be with you within the next 5 minutes.
All our questions have been answered. All the questions in the room have been covered.
Bravo. Let's keep in touch, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Ivanka.